How you doing, world? This is the Danny Malone function. Thank you for tuning in. Um, so I wanted to go over today the generation that we have today. Um, now, you know, I've been thinking a lot. I've been reading a lot. I've been seeing things a lot, and I don't, I want to talk about the generation that we have today. Um, and it's real as it's gonna get. This is real as it's gonna get. So I want to talk about the generation, and I want to talk about you know basically this is where I don't know. It's ridiculous. Um, this generation, we're not being taught to deal with the world as it is. We're being taught to deal with this fairyland, which we're not even living in anymore. It's sad because I'm telling you, and it should not be me telling you it. So why? So basically, you're asking yourself, why did I just say that? I said, let me say it one more time. We're not being taught. I'm speaking for the generation. We're not being taught to deal with the world as it is. We're being taught to deal with this fairyland, which we're not even living in anymore. It's sad. Because I'm telling you, and I shouldn't be the one telling you this. Man, listen, this is what it really comes down to. It comes down to the parents. I remember growing up in my generation, and it wasn't too long ago, that I got taught the birds and the bees. I got taught, if you have sex or if you have sex education. I was taught sex education as a kid. I was taught, um, you know, doing wrong will get you wrong when I was younger in detention centers. I was taught right and wrong. I was taught all this. You understand? This generation now, you know, parents, you gotta teach your kids, tell your kids about, especially your daughters. You have to let them know what the birds and the bees is. I learned that a long time ago. You know, you're trying to keep it away from them. You can't keep reality away. When you look at the TV, when you look at certain shows on TV, right? Them TV shows is showing these kids other than what you guys as parents are supposed to be showing them. I seen I seen personally TV shows that were animated that was uh, bad, really bad. But the kids are watching these shows. And I'm not saying nothing, the shows are the shows. The kids are gonna watch whatever they're gonna watch. The parents, let's watch them. Hey, let them watch it. But where the fairyland is back in, like we're still living in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I don't understand that. We're in 2023. You got to teach your kids as teenagers, if you do this, you're going to have this. Don't make a mistake. Make sure you're protected. You have to do this in a young age, teenage numbers. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you got to let the kids know what's going on out here. You got to let them know. It shouldn't even be me on this show, Danny Malone Function, telling you parents what to do with your children. You have to teach them. You have to put it in their head, especially your daughters. Put it in their head that if they do this, this is what's going to happen. Now, it might not happen right away, But it might happen right away. You never know. And they have the baby, and then your parents gotta you parents gotta take care of the kids. Let's stop hiding things from our kids. Let's tell them the truth for once, and let them know what's going on, because when they're growing up, they're gonna figure it out anyways, and by the time they figure it out, it's too late. Take your little 2 and 3 jobs, and or whatever you're doing with your jobs and stuff like that, because you always, parents always blaming it on the job. Oh, I got 2 or 3 jobs, I can't maintain, I can't do this, I can't teach this. In a little bit of your time that you do have when you're home around your kids, let them know. Sit them down. Talk to them. Let them know what's going on. Let them know right now, Russia and Ukraine, there's a war. There's things going on right now. Let them know what's going on. Let them be knowledgeable of what's going on in the world today. Because at the end of the day, you're given fairy tales, fairyland. It's fairyland. That's what I call fairyland. It's fairyland. You're giving these kids fairyland stories. You're giving these fairyland things that don't make no sense. You have to tell your kids the truth. Tell them what's going on. Let them know what's going on. Keep it 100, like we all say to each other. 100, right? 100, right? Loyalty, right? Respect, right? The reason why the generation don't have that today, and the reason why we don't have relationships the way they was in the past, and the reason why we don't have the stuff that was going on in the past, is because the parents are not explaining to their kids what is going on today. Let's stop talking about the past. Let's talk about today. What's going on today? What do I need my kids to do today for tomorrow to be better? That's what we need to be talking about. You want to fix this generation that is screwed up because of the fairyland stories that you tell your kids? Because it's all fairyland stories. It's shit in the past. We're talking about the past. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what's going on right now. Let's talk about the world as it is right now. What's going on right now? You understand what I'm saying? Some of you parents don't have cable. Some of you people don't have cable. Some people don't have the worldly stuff to watch to where you can see what's going on every single day, or what happened yesterday or the day before. Try to get it. I mean, have your kids be on the newspaper, reading the newspaper, checking out the news. Just because you parents don't look at the news because you're tired, you don't want to look at it, blah, blah, blah. Eventually the kids are going to get in somewhere and they're going to figure it out and they're going to find out, but then it's too late. So let's stop living in this fairyland and let's get back to the basics and talk about what's going on today, and stop the young kids from having kids because they're kids themselves. And the only way that you break the cycle is if you speak about it with your kids. You have to let them know about the birds and the bees. You gotta let them know about the negativity, the right from wrong. If you do this, this is what's gonna happen. If you don't do this, this is what's gonna happen. If you don't work, you're not gonna be able to pay bills. If you don't go to school, you're not gonna be able to get a good job. You have to explain this stuff. Sometimes you have to explain it, hands-on explanations. Some kids don't understand if you say it just once and you're saying it once here and there, once a month. Maybe you're saying this stuff you got to be active. You have to say it every day, as many times as you can, to get it in their heads that it's not worth having a kid because you're a kid. I hope that this message goes out and lets people know about this generation. This generation is living a fairyland that been done years ago. So we're talking about in the past. We're talking about the stuff that happened in the past. Let's talk about what's going on in the present. Let's talk about what's going on for your future, for the future. And let's stop these kids from having kids. And the only way that you're going to stop kids from having kids is if you give them that conversation and letting them know what the birds and the bees is. I figured out what the birds and the bees because my parents told me what it was. I didn't know what it was until I got told. Why do I got to be the one telling you? I don't understand that. Your parents should be telling you that, it's wrong to do this and it's wrong to do that. And if you do this, this is what's going to happen. And you got to explain the repercussions of the situation. You got to let your daughter know that if she has a kid, that all of the responsibilities that it takes to bring that kid into this world and do. And we need A to Z. We don't need a little bit of stuff. They already learned. This generation already learned a little bit of stuff when you parents leave them in the house to watch each other, to have kids watching kids in the house. It doesn't make no sense. Just because they know how to watch a kid, do a diaper or two, feed them, all this stuff is easy. But there is more to being a father or a mother, period. And they don't need to be going through that at a young age. So parents, you should get on your kids and letting them know the advantages and disadvantages of having kids, being a kid. That's why this generation is the way it is. And I don't blame the kids. I blame the teachers. And the teachers is the people that the kids live with. Either the parents, grandparents, whoever they are. Whoever the kids are living with is the people that are responsible for the generation to be in what the generation is today. A fairyland. And that's what it is. It's basically a fairyland. The truth will set you free, right? So why don't you just tell your kids the truth? Let them know the truth. And they won't be running around here looking for the closest drug. They won't be running around here looking for the closest boyfriend or girlfriend. They won't be running around here looking to have a baby while they're a baby. So this is the Danny Malone function. And I hope that this message went out to the people that hate me, that dislike me. I don't care. You can dislike me all you want. But I'm going to tell the truth and I'm going to keep it real. This generation is messed up because of you. Period. And I stand on it. Because at the end of the day, if I had a daughter, she would know what's going on. So she don't have no kid. Because she's going to know that it's wrong. Or my son to going out there, find a little girlfriend, and then he does whatever he got to do to have the baby. No. He's going to know that there's responsibility. You got to work. Now you got to get a job. Now you got to make money. Not only you got to support yourself, now you got to support something else that's small, that's a kid, which is a kid. So as parents, let's stop living in this fairyland, and let's get back to reality, and let's get back to what it was, Because if we go back to what it was, then we could see what it is, and we can see the change in the generation to come. Because when the generation comes next, what's the new thing? What's the fairyland now? What's the fairy tale now? We're talking about Santa Claus. We're talking about the Tooth Fairy. We're talking about Princess this, King this. We're talking about all these fairy tales, fairyland. That's all that these generations living in, fairyland. And and they're following peer pressure, followers. There's no leaders anymore. There's a lot of followers. Let's teach our kids how to be leaders and not followers. Let's teach our kids how to be leaders, not followers. And let's get out of this fairyland. And let's teach the generation that, if they did make the mistake already, let's not do it again. if you put a kid in this world and you're a kid, let's not do it again. Let's not have another kid next year. Let's figure this out and not make a mistake. Because at the end of the day, this generation failed because of the parents, not because of the kids. The kids are innocent. They were just taught wrong and taught about this fairyland when when they were really supposed to learn about the world or what it is in the present and the future. And this is the Danny Malone function. And I'll see you next time for the next show. Remember, this generation of kids didn't fail. The parents failed their kids. And the only way that this could be corrected is if the parents speak and fix what they broke. This is Danny Malone Function. And thank you for tuning in. And I hope you people understand where I'm coming from. And understand that there's not enough work in the world to not teach your kids the real life stuff, the truth of the present and the future, than this fairy tale, fairyland that everybody's living off of. And it's the past. The past is the past. Let's not worry about the past. Let's worry about the future. Everybody want to talk about the past. I think that's, certain presidents came in and started doing stuff, taking stuff out of stores and for the racism and the prejudice and all that stuff. And then it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Let's leave all that stuff alone because it doesn't make any sense. To bring back the past, just to bring back the past, it doesn't make any sense. Let's bring up the present and the future to our kids and let them know what right and wrong is. Let them know about the real world of what's going on so they're not worried about that fairyland or that fairy tale that they've been hearing all their life in this generation. Thank you for tuning in. This is Danny Malone Function, and I'll see you next show.